Ramakatha Rasavahini, Prema Sudhamritavahini, Sathya Sanatani Dharma Swarupini, Shanti Pradayini Mokshakarini, Ramakatha Rasavahini, Ramakatha Rasavahini.
Sai Ram, everyone. Just to recollect where we are in the study of Ramakatha Rasavahini, we are in chapter 4, where Swami is talking about the childhood of the four brothers. Last week we discussed about the miraculous incidents which Mother Kausalya observed, and she wanted some answers for it. She discussed with King Dasharatha, who felt that it was her imagination. But Sage Vasishta was able to reassure her that what she saw was real and that her child is divine. Thereafter, we discussed Swami talking about how the children were growing up. As children, they started crawling and they started standing up and so on. And that's all we discussed last week. So I will ask Uncle Gopalan to just read that slide once more, and then if there's anything anyone would like to discuss, we can discuss. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, everyone. Months rolled by. The children, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna, learned to crawl on all fours, sit on the floor, and move about. Special arrangements were made to keep watch over them at all times, lest they fall and hurt themselves. Many varieties of toys were procured and placed before them. The mothers with their children, the children with the mothers and nursemaids spent the days with no sense of passage of time, in one continuous round of joy. The children could raise themselves up and stand, holding fast the fingers of the mother or maid. They could hold on to the wall and get up. They could toddle towards a few steps on their feet. Their efforts and achievements gave merriment to their mothers. Their lips, in sweet parrot voice, a few indistinct words, and made them burst into laughter. They taught them to say Ma, Pap, and were happy when they pronounced the words correctly. Every day at dawn, they rubbed medicated or fragrant oil over the bodies. Then they applied detergent powder and bathed them in the holy waters of Sarai. Then they dried curls in perfumed incense, applied collyrium to their eyes, placed dots on their cheeks to ward off the evil eye, and put ritual marks on their foreheads. They dressed themselves in attractive soft silk and helped them to recline in swings, where they slept soundly to the tune of melodious lullaby. Engaged in the pleasant task, the mothers felt that heaven was not far off in space and time. It was there all around them. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Uncle. Sai Ram, everyone. If anyone would like to discuss any of the points here, we could. If not, we can move on. Yes, we can move on. Sai Ram uncle, please go ahead.
And what of the jewels for them? Oh, they were never newer or more brilliant. Each new day, anklets, tinkling wrist strings of gold and precious gems, necklaces of the 9 gems, for fear that these might hurt by their hardness the tender boy. They were set on soft velvet tapes and ribbons. The plays and the pastimes of the little boys defied description. When they were able to walk, boys of the same age were brought from the city, and together they played games. The city children were given tasty dishes to eat and toys to play with. They were also loaded with gifted articles. The maids who brought them to the palace were also fed sumptuously. Kausalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra had no care for their own health and comfort while bringing up their children. So happy were they with them. After this period of nourishment and growth in the interior of the palace, when they reached the age of 3, the children were taken by their governesses to the playground, where they ran and rollicked to the heart's content. When they returned, the mothers welcomed them and fostered them with great love and vigilance. One day, Dasaratha, while conversing with his queens, mentioned that the children will not learn much, that in worth the children children must not learn much that is worthwhile. If they moved about with the maids, their intelligence and the skills cannot be developed that way. So an auspicious hour was fixed to initiate. Some more to go.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, can you read? See?
Initiate them into letters. Preceptors were called in to inaugurate the studies. Sai
Okay,
Ram.
thank you. Thank you. Sai Ram auntie, shall we read the
సాయిరామ్
Sai Ram.
ఇక ఆభరణముల అబ్బో దినదినమునకు ఒక రకము.
Here, then what about ornaments? Every day there was something new.
కాలి అందెలు, మొలగజ్జెలు, కంఠహారములు,
They were anklets, they were gold wristbands, and also necklaces.
అవి కుచ్చుకుననేమో అని క్రింద మకమల్లు వస్త్రమును కుట్టి వంటికి పెట్టిడివారు.
They worried that they may hurt or be rough on the skin of the children, that they were stitched or set on soft clothes.
వెల్వెట్ మకమల్,
Okay.
వెల్వెట్
clothes.
క్లోత్స్. బాలలీలలు వర్ణనాతీతముగా ఉండెను.
The children's play was indescribable.
బాలురు నడువగల వయస్కులగునప్పటికీ
When the children were able to walk, when they reached that age of being able to walk,
పురమందలి ఆయా వయస్సు పిల్లలను తెప్పించి
from the cities, children of the same age were brought.
వారులను వీరులను కలిపి ఆటలు ఆడించడం.
They were all mixed together and made to play.
తిండ్లు పెట్టించటం,
giving them things to eat.
వచ్చిన పుర ప్రముఖుల పిల్లలకు తగిన బహుమతులు.
So the children who were brought from the city, they were given appropriate gifts.
ఆట బొమ్మలు ఇవ్వడం,
They were given toys.
ఆ పిల్లల తల్లులకు వెంట వచ్చిన దాదులకు తగిన భోజనం సదుపాయములు చేయడం.
So the mothers and the maids who brought those children, they were fed sumptuously.
ఈ రీతిగా కౌసల్య, సుమిత్ర, కైకేయులు తమ తమ దేహములనే మరచి,
So in this manner, the Kaushalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi, they forgot their own self for the bodies.
పిల్లలను ప్రాణ సమానముగా చూచుకుంటూ ఆనందించుంటురి.
They treated the children as equal to their own life or their breath, and they looked after them like that, and they were in bliss.
కొంతకాలం మీరి ఈ రీతిగా బాలలీలలు,
For some time, in this manner, there were child's play.
తల్లులు చెంత అంతఃపురమున జరిపి,
The mothers went to the inner parts of the palace. From there,
సారీ, ఐ థింక్ ఐ షుడ్ రీడ్ ద హోల్ స్టోరీ.
yes, auntie.
కొంతకాలం ఈ రీతిగా బాలలీలలు తల్లుల చెంత అంతఃపురమున జరిపి,
So for some time with the mothers, in this manner, the children's play took place within the inner quarters of the palace.
3 సంవత్సరాలు నిండంగానే
When they reached the age of 3,
బాలురందరినీ ఆడుకొనుటకై,
for the children to play,
దాదులతో ఆట స్థలములకు చంపుచు,
they were sent to playgrounds with the maids.
సకాలమునకు అంతఃపురమునకు పిలిపించుచు,
At the right time, they were brought back to the inner quarters.
తల్లులు అత్యంత జాగరూకతతో చూచుచుండిరి.
The mothers were looking after the children with lots of vigilance.
ఒకనాడు దశరథుడు రాణులతో సంభాషణలు జరుపుచు,
One day, King Dasharatha had a conversation with all the queens.
పిల్లలు ఈ విధముగా దాదులతో కూడి ఉండిన,
The children, if they continue to be with the maids,
విద్యాబుద్ధులు నేర్పలేరని యోచించి,
that they will not be able to learn a proper education.
మంచి ముహూర్తము నిర్ణయించి,
Auspicious time was fixed.
మంచి ముహూర్తము నిర్ణయించి గురువుల వారిని రప్పించి,
Inviting the gurus,
అక్షరాభ్యాసము గావించెను.
they were initiated into letters.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Thank you very much, auntie. Sai Ram, everyone. We can discuss any of the points which we discussed, which we read here. I will open it up for everyone to bring up any points which you observed. If anyone would like to, if everyone is happy, I think they're nice description of how they were being brought up, how they were being looked after. Yes, Sister Vani, please go ahead.
Sai Ram, brother. So they are doing this Vidya Arambam. Like, is there like an age that is appropriate for Vidya Arambam? I know, like, before they go to junior kindergarten or something, we usually do it like in a regular way. But here for them, because they are the children of the king, is there a specific timeline for that?
Swami doesn't seem to have mentioned any time here, sister, but I will anyway open it up for anyone to discuss. Okay, no one else. Maybe we can discuss, but generally, I think 4 to 5 years. Yes, Sister Veena, please go ahead.
Sai Ram, one thing here to be noticed that the Rani says to Dashratha while conversing with his queen, mentioned that the children will not learn much that is worthwhile if they moved about with the maids. While I'm reading, I'm just thinking that we all know that to who we mingle with and our children in this context, if anyone wants to elaborate about that thing, because that is focusing on even our own children and community and who we should be mingling. Is that correct? Or so this is what it is said here in that context.
Thank you, Sister
Sai
Beena, for
Ram.
the question. Anyone would like to comment on? So there are two questions. One is Sister Vani's question of what's an appropriate age for the kings, for the princess to start learning. Is there something like that? And second one is Sister Beena's question. Yes, Brother Narendra Reddy, please go ahead.
Brother Sai Ram,
Sorry.
there are 2 points. One is the one which was just mentioned now, with whom the children should mingle. And I'll go to the first one is, these are princes, right? They are the king's children. So they will be given the most VIP treat. And you see, even the mothers and maids who brought the other children, they were fed sumptuously. Look at the treatment being given to those children who are coming to play with the princess. And going back to the point which the sister raised just a while back, these are 3-year, 4-year-old children, and when they move around with the mate, the mates very likely talk about hygiene, health, and all the other things. But these princes gonna become later on kings and rulers. So that is why I think the king, in his conversation with the queen, said they were not gonna learn much. There was in no way any derogatory, point, but the key point was he is hinting that they need to get that training to become leaders of the future. And this, the younger, the child whose time is to play, but they need to be introduced and inculcated with the values of leadership and how to behave as kings and rulers, and how to talk, and also in those days and age, also about how to use the bow and arrow and the fighting equipment. So I think the whole idea is that to impress on them that they need to know all the other things as well. So I thought I'll just raise that. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please? Yes, Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Sai Ram, I think you started it off, so I'll just continue with that thing of the age. So I think in terms of the children being initiated into brahmacharya with the yajnopavitam and all of that initiation that happens at around the age of 5. And of course, which also leads to the second part of the question that Sister Beena raised, because it comes down to tell me your company and I shall tell you who you are. And the ideal scenario is, of course, for the children to get initiated into the learning of the scriptures and so on. So, not just in the worldly aspects, but also what Brother Narendra Reddy was saying in terms of leaders. They are trained both on the para and apara vidya. That is one aspect. And I think Swami mentioned in a discourse as well that these days it has come to a point where the children grow up with nannies and maids and so on. So much so that when the mother passes on, the children don't cry. They cry when the nanny or the maid passes away, because their whole life they have been brought up by them, and so they feel more affection and all of that for the person who has raised them rather than for their true mother. So that way, the ideologies and since childhood is a very fertile uh, arena where the soil is plowed and all of the seeds are sown at that point, which germinate and come back in a bigger way as the child grows up. That's where, in that fertile, pure, pristine state that they are in, the company of the good and godly will do them a lot more of good as leaders. And that's where I think Dasharatha is reinforcing. But I'll just stop there, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Thank you. Anyone else would like to discuss? No one has any thoughts? Maybe just to, I don't know, Sister Vani's question. Sister Vani, generally, the fifth year, fifth month is considered an auspicious time to start Ksharabhyasam. If that's missed, I think they generally, around that age, generally education starts. Though Swami has not specifically mentioned the exact time. I'm sure between 3 and 5, somewhere they would have started the Ksharabhyasam. So generally, it's all brahmacharya. The initiation also takes place at that time in some cases. I think just after, little after Aksharabhyasam. So depends on which subjects, which time they start. So, and I think nicely Sai Satish has mentioned about the company of anyone will determine what we learn, whether it's negative or positive. In this case, it would have been very positive because the mothers were very vigilant of every small thing, but their intellectual and other development is also important, as Brother Narendra Reddy said, for future princes. So I think they start early so that physically also they can be trained, not only mentally. I'll stop there. If there's no other points, I think we can go to the next. Yes, Sanjay, please go ahead.
Am I audible, Sai Ram, or
Yeah,
no? Am I
yes,
audible? Okay,
very well.
thank you. I do have a question. In the previous section, Swami does say that the mothers felt there was no greater heaven than the activities of the children that they were enjoying. And in this section, Swami says, they were so much, so much so that they forgot their own health and comfort. When that is the case, one would think that they would also be cognizant of the roles that the children will have to play in the future. Why then Swami puts it on King Dasharatha to have pointed out this aspect for their future?
Very nice question. I'll open it up for discussion. One of the mothers would have been interested in the children's growth also is a question that Dasharatha had to mention it. Yes, Sister Vani.
Sai Ram, brother, I think it's the worldly aspect of mother being the mother's nature that they wanted to pet them and feed them and make them comfortable, whereas fathers always think about their education and their future. So I think that's what is depicted here, like a typical mother and father.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes the attachment and the enjoyment you have with the children is such that the mothers would postpone studies for a little while, just to extend their joy of playing with the children, I guess. Yes. Yes, Sai Satish.
Sai Ram, I just heard another discourse from Swami where he says that Mother Yashoda had the darshan or the vision of the 14 worlds in Lord Krishna's mouth. but and she had repeated experiences of the divine aspect of Krishna, but then what really stopped her from staying in that experience was this body attachment. So in that case, based on what was shared also, I think that that Vatsalyam is one thing that as much as it releases, it binds also. So one is that aspect of the motherly love. And the second thing, I think Swami also says the mother points to father and father points to the guru. So in that right aspect, I think Dasharatha pointing to the guru, that chain of command kind of a thing, there's a smooth flow. So just wanted to add to that. Sai.
Thank you, Sai Sitesh. I think, what I also noticed was Dasharatha was sort of not fully present when the children were playing in the inner quarters. Because generally, the king will go not regularly and engage. So I think maybe he was also missing seeing the children. And that's the way they operated, I guess, in those days. So Dasharatha's joy also comes from, the children's ability, their educational, expertise and things like that. So he was impatient to see that they becoming strong princes. I think that could have been also another reason. If everyone is okay, Sanjay, I don't know if you are okay with this, satisfied, but we'll can.
No, absolutely. Very good points. I think Satish mentioned the pointing, the custody of responsibility, and what you mentioned also, him being more pragmatic, I think, in terms of their future. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, please. So let's move to the next. Yes, Sai Ram, Uncle, go.
Sai Ram. Lakshmana, Bharata, Satrughna, too learned their lessons admirably well, but they pined for the company and comradeship of Rama so much. As soon as Rama was out of sight, they lost interest in the study, in their duties towards their teacher. As a result, they could not catch up with Rama. They were following him a session or two behind. Lakshmana dared tell his teacher once or twice that he had no need for any lessons or learning. They would be happy if they could get the company of Rama. Rama, the very life of Lakshmana. The teacher observed this strange relationship between the two and drew much inspiration contemplating on it. He reminded himself of the statement of the sage Vasishtha that they were no other than Nara and Narayana, inseparable divine forces. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Uncle, I think we.
Sai Ram,
Sai Ram, Auntie, I think
missed a few.
something is.
Miss
Okay,
a
I
page.
think. Yeah, okay, can you read this, Uncle? I think the slides got shifted.
Charming little boy took residence in the teacher's.
Yeah, please, can you read, Uncle? From that day.
Yeah,
From that day, the charming little boys took residence in their teacher's home. They gave up the costly royal accoutrements and wore a simple cloth wound round their waists and another thrown over their shoulders. Since education cannot progress well if children are in the atmosphere of parental love and care, they had to live with the teacher, imbibing lessons all through the day and night. For more is learned by service to the teacher, by observing and following his example. They had to live on whatever was given to them as food by the teacher. They shone like embodiments of the Brahmachari ideal, the seekers of truth. When the mothers felt the anguish of separation and desired to see them, they went to the house of the teacher and made themselves happy, noting the progress of their children. The teacher was also quite happy when he observed the steadfastness and enthusiasm of his word. He was surprised at the intelligence and powerful memory, and he was filled with wonder and joy. Among all the four, he noticed that Rama had outstanding interest in his studies. He grasped things so quickly that he could repeat any lesson correctly when he had heard it just once. The teacher was amazed at the sharp intelligence of Rama. He resolved that his advance should not be slowed down by the need to bring the others to his level. So he grouped the other three separately and paid individual attention to Rama, who learned very fast. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Uncle.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, aunty.
ఆనాటి నుండి రాజోచిత వేషములను విసర్జించి
From that day onwards, they gave up
రాయల్ క్లోత్స్,
their royal clothes.
పిల్లలు సామాన్య గురుకుల ఆశ్రమ నియమము అనుసరించి
The children followed the restrictions or the discipline of the ordinary discipline in an ashram.
అంగవస్త్రము పైన ధరించి
They were wearing upper clothes,
మొలకొక తుండును చుట్టుకొని
one piece of cloth around them.
గురుగృహమున ప్రవేశించిది.
They entered the house of their guru.
ఇంటి యందున్న విద్య నేర్చుటకు వీలు కాదని,
If they remained at home, they will not be able to learn the subjects.
గురుగృహమునందే గురు సేవలు చేయొచ్చు.
They stayed in the house of the guru and performed seva to the guru.
వారు అందించు ఆహారమును మాత్రమే భుజించుచు
They ate only the food given by the teachers.
మూర్తి భవించిన బ్రహ్మచారి వేషములతో
They were in the garb of a brahmachari, a student.
విద్యను నేర్చుచుండిరి.
They were learning their subjects.
ఎప్పుడైనా పిల్లలను చూడవలెనను ఆశ తల్లులకు కలిగినప్పుడు అంతయు
Whenever the mothers felt a need to see their children,
తల్లులే గురుగృహమునకు వెళ్ళి
the mothers themselves went to the house of the home of the guru.
పిల్లలను చూచి వారి విద్యా బుద్ధులను గమనించి
They saw their children and also observed the growth in their knowledge and intelligence.
ఆనందించి వచ్చేవారు.
They used to take great joy and then return.
గురువు ఆ పిల్లల శ్రద్ధాభక్తులకు
The guru, for the children's attention and determination to and the devotion,
ధారణా శక్తులకు అత్యంత ఆశ్చర్యమును ఆనందమును పొందేది.
their grasping power he saw and he was fairly surprised.
అందున రాముని శ్రద్ధ మరింత తీవ్రమై ఉండేది.
And he was also overjoyed by that. In this, Rama's Shraddha determination was very Tivra, means it was much higher, I would say.
ఉండేది. గురువు చెప్పిన పాఠములను క్షణములో తిరిగి ఒప్ప చెప్పేవాడు.
So he was able to repeat what the Guru said once right away.
రాముని కుశాగ్ర బుద్ధికి అచ్చరు పొంది
So his sharp intelligence of Rama was Chirundi observing that.
అచ్చరు పొంది అంటే ఆశ్చర్యపడి.
Okay. Being surprised. Okay.
రాముని శ్రద్ధకు అడ్డు చెప్పుట మంచిది కాదు అని
భావించి. So without being slowing down Rama's progress, that's not good, thinking thus.
లక్ష్మణ భరత శత్రుఘ్నులను వేరుగా కూర్చొని పెట్టి
Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrugna were made to sit separately.
రాములకు ప్రత్యేకముగా వేద శాస్త్రములు వల్లించ మొదలు పెట్టెను.
He started teaching Rama the Veda Shastras.
I think
that's all. Yeah, that's all. Thank you, Auntie.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Sorry. Anyone would like to discuss any of the points? I think there's quite a bit here. The children were sent to the teacher's home. They had to lead a very simple life with lots of discipline. And that's essential for any learning. So I will stop here. And Rama proved to be an exceptional student. So he was put on a gifted program, it looks like.
Sai Ram, even the name of the Guru is not mentioned, I am sure it is Vasishtha only.
It looks like that. I think later on it's says someone else is teaching.
Really?
In the next paragraph, I think, which we read, but we'll come back to that.
So name of the Guru is not mentioned here.
Because Guru is telling, that just the way Vasishtha told or something like that.
Oh.
So from that we can see that it's someone, maybe he's working under Sage Vasishtha, but he was different.
Thank you.
Because, so we will discuss this. The Guru's name is not mentioned, but someone who is working under the guidance of Sage Vasishtha, it looks like. Yes, Peena, please go ahead.
Sai Ram, here showing the Gurukul Paddhati. Just want to mention that for a Veda Abhyas and sometimes even being Praveen in a music or any kind of kshetra, we still have this tradition that carries on in India these days too. Just wanted to mention that.
Yes, Peena, thank you.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Auntie, please go ahead.
Especially for the study of Vedas, they always have, all the big mathas have their own Gurukula, and the children are taught in a methodical way how to pronounce Veda mantras with all proper pronunciation. Even now, there are many Gurukulas. Even Gurukula system is very much it's seen now.
Thank you, Auntie. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please? Yes, Sitaram.
Sai Ram Anna.
Sai Ram.
I think as that paragraph is being read, it clearly reminds the hostel days back in Parthi, because every sentence that Swami mentioned, like whatever was told, the food that is given by Guru Griha, it is being consumed by them. Or whenever parents would like to come, they can only meet them there outside. And, like how our parents used to come after darshan, meet them, and immediately run back into the lines because one of our class teachers will be telling time is up. They'll be waiting there like Silas or someone. So it just reminded of those days in Parthi. I think it clearly shows that Swami has maintained that kind of uh, paddhati that Beena sister was mentioning. It may look diluted from what has been taught then, but I think again the education that Swami has provided, the discourses that he has given, is purely Veda Shastras that we got. That is how I see. I think that is what I got reminded as the first paragraph as being read. Everything back to hostel days. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Sitaram. Thank you. Yes, Swami was very firm in making sure that it's a residential school. Children stayed there, away from home, so that they can learn whatever he wanted to teach us. And of course, very simple living. I think many people miss their home food, but that was Swami's will as well. Yes, because it prepares one for any type of hardship also in life. Like Rama later on had to go to the forest, and they had to live with whatever was available. So I think sometimes training always prepares one to face life. So the Gurukula system was such very simple living. I had to wear only one or two pairs of clothes, no silk and velvet, which the mothers were providing them with. So I think those are also very important for cultivating discipline and facing various situations in life. And I think in Sai Ram, Sanjay, go ahead.
Please finish your thought and then I can.
No, I was just trying to fill the silence. Go ahead.
I just, draw our attention to how much of education happens inside the classroom versus how much happens outside the classroom in this kind of a system. And second is also to be a teacher in such a system. When you're in a glass bowl, every minute of your day is observed by somebody, how much more elevated one has to be as a teacher compared to one who just has to behave in a certain way while within the four walls of the classroom. I just thought it is what a challenge it is to be a teacher in such a system.
Yes, thank you, Sanjay. Yeah, the role of the teacher as an example, an ideal, is also indirectly told by Swami what type of life they have to lead. And I think many of the lecturers in Parthi will vouch for that. They had to live among the students and establish that. Yes, Sister Kalyani, please go ahead.
Oh, Sai Ram. I think in one part it was saying that if they're under the love of their mother and father, then they would not earn their education properly, or they would not, I guess they would not be able to be educated properly. I guess I'm just wondering, like in this day and age when, our children are living at home, and they're going to school, I guess, like, is there some detriment to them by having, by living at home with their mother and father? I guess, maybe a lack of discipline or something like that. And how can we, I guess, inculcate that even in this circumstance?
Very nice question, Kalyani. I will open it up to everyone to share your thoughts, please. Sai Ram, Kalyani, I think before others speak up, I think Sanjay has already touched upon this topic. I think, yes, I think it is a detriment, and I think parents have to be vigilant about it. And then, if at all, that's the situation which cannot be changed. And I think they all should live like the gurus described here. A simple life, simple living, disciplined life. I think so. The reality is, even those gurus who were running Gurukulam, their children were staying with them. They also learned along with the other children who came as students. So I think so. Those gurus, who led a very ideal, very tightly disciplined, simple life, I think are the examples for parents with whom the children are growing up. And I think in the absence of Gurukulam, I think each home has to become a Gurukulam. If the same discipline is followed daily, I think that's the only way to mitigate the problem, and also to be vigilant not to spoil the children. I think that will stop there. If anyone else would like to comment or share your thoughts, please. Sai Ram, Sai Sathya.
Sai Ram, I'm just looking at the hostel life, whether it's a primary school student or all the way up to the college. Because in the senior boys hostel, we would say our whole life revolves around the two bells. There'll be a first one bell that is given to kind of say that in the next 5-10 minutes that activity will begin or that activity will close. If I have to see currently how things are on a personal front versus that in the hostel. At hostel, 5 o'clock when the bell rings, we know we have to get up. 5:30 when the bell rings, we know that it's Suprabhatam, that it's starting. If let's say a child is there, automatically it's programmed into the way the child leads their life, whether it's a 5-year-old in the first grade, all the way up to, of course, the postgraduate and so on. At home, if I have my little one, then my thing is, oh, he's not able to get up now. It's okay. Maybe holidays time or this thing, it's a little later. It's okay. So as what was mentioned, can parents play that role of a guru to always remind ourselves that it is from Swami and through the parents, in the sense that the child is the gift from Swami, and hold it at that level of reverence and to the extent of that dispassion. I don't know if that's the right word, but you keep it at that level where it's a constant reminder. Because at every time, I think as a parent, I will get into a mode of it's okay, one day it's okay, and 2 days okay, kind of a thing. But in the hostel setup, I think it's maintained, as I said, in those two bells kind of a thing, which guides every level. So, yeah, if one can truly stay at that level of self-awareness, as a parent, then I think the home itself can be that in that disciplined environment like a hostel. So yeah, it's that constant reminder, because as a parent, I find the challenge of how to stay out at that threshold of, like, I think the other discourse also Swami mentions on the dharma aspect. He says if a child commits mistake, for the mother to correct the child by giving a thrashing, that cannot be considered adharma. That is, love is the basis. So can I always stay at the threshold of love, but keeping discipline as the constant reminder? That challenge is what I face too. So I just wanted to share, Sai Ram.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Yes, Sister Vani.
Sai Ram, brother. So Swami talked about 3 Ds: discipline, devotion, and duty, dharma. So the discipline means like, how you follow rules, certain rules, even like normal things like waking up early, or, how to speak to people, like that. And then devotion, love for God, and, they need to know, like, by growing up and, paying prayers and love, and, of course we take kids to Balvikas and all that. And then the dharma, respect, is the duty, like, we have to treat everybody with respect, the elders, and, speak softly, and all the human values. So I think Swami touched on these 3 Ds, some other places too.
Thank you, sister. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts?
So just a question, because I think that, the parent trying to play that role of being a guru, like, I guess the parent can discipline themselves. Like, that's definitely something they can work on. When it comes to like dealing with the child, like I feel like children, like when they go to school and there's a teacher or somebody, there's a little bit more fear, and which brings in some discipline into them. Whereas at least at home, it seems like, when there's no fear, it's harder to discipline them. So I'm just wondering, should there be a little bit of fear, like in the child, or can you accomplish all this by just love?
Thank you, Kalyani. Very good question. Anyone who would like to answer that question? Yes, Sister Vani.
Thing we talked, I don't know whether we talked here or at the center discourse, like Sama, Kana, Veda, Danda, like, I think that would apply here as well.
Thank you, Sister Vani. Yeah. Yes, Sanjay, please go ahead.
No, I don't have an answer, but I think I would like to definitely draw the distinction between whether it is discipline that exists in the presence of fear versus discipline that exists in the presence of love. The straightforward example that is very familiar to us is how Swami induced discipline through love. So I think there is a discipline. Is a child being disciplined in the presence of fear, or is it something else? Versus, is it not discipline in the presence of love? I just want to draw a distinction between the two, I think.
Thank you, Sanjay. But I understand, Swami also has sometimes used Samadhana Dandabheda to drive home points, depending on the student. And not everyone right away, follows the discipline sometimes. Yes, but the love is definitely a component. Even sometimes the fear of losing the love or attention sometimes make people behave in certain ways. So yes, the love should be the undercurrent, no doubt. But disciplined with some samadhana, the Veda is. I know in today's world here, capital punishment or anything is not necessarily accepted. But I think within the confined limitations, I think parents can play a role. Sometimes it's not necessarily the fear of the person, but fear of losing something which they really would like to have. Sometimes I think the term which is used is called Bhaya Bhakti. There's devotion with some tinge of fear. Many students don't do mistakes only because they're scared that Swami will pull them up publicly because he knows what's going on. So that's a very major driver for many students to fall in line. So I'll stop there. Anyone else? So Kalyani, I think each unique situation will call for some different tactic or technique. But as Sanjay said, the love should be there. I think as long as love is there, there's a chance to be able to inculcate discipline. Yes, I, Satish.
No, just again seeing like Swami would say that Daiva Preeti, Papa Bhiti, and Sanganiti. So just saying if the child can be guided to Swami, and if that love for Swami is made so intense in his omnipresence, then that itself should, like, because the Papa Bhiti is nothing but becoming disciplined as an outcome of that love, Daiva Preeti. So yeah, in terms of we like what was mentioned by Sanjay, and also like how continuously the like cheppinetlu chestara, because the child is going on observing the mother and father and seeing how they are responding to everything, and they say, okay, under any circumstance and every circumstance, this is what their priority remains. So the child, I think, constant reinforcement essentially recognizes that and then goes forward. But then it places the responsibility on the parents at a very, very high pedestal or level to continuously reinforce Daiva Preeti in their lives so that the child understands that, which will lead to Papa Bhiti and Sanganiti. But just wanted to add that, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish.
Sorry, one last challenge I feel is like when you're trying to balance the like discipline and love, like sometimes if you go too much towards discipline, like does a child, I mean, the child says they feel unloved, or like, they might say that, or I don't know if they really feel that way, but like, is there a risk of them like feeling that way, like feeling that they're not loved? And
Good question, Kalyani. If we overemphasize on discipline, we run the risk of the children not feeling the love? That's the question. Of course, children always have an ability to do what they call emotional blackmailing. And they will find the weak spots of their parents and press those buttons. I think children start learning it very young. But how do we balance? I think that's Kalyani's question. Is there anything which we can? Yes, Bina, please go ahead.
Is what I think that in this case, like pick your battle.
Yeah.
Don't say no, 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 no for every single thing, but it's make a priority, which is the most important. Then you discipline. That's what the best thing I can think of, right? Yeah. Sai Ram.
Thank you, Bina. Yes, Sitaram, please go ahead.
Sai Ram, Anna. I think for that question, I feel if it is a doctor and a patient relationship, patient would always feel that the medicine is not good for them based on their own research. But a doctor must know what is the right medicine for the ailment that patient came for. In a similar fashion, I think a parent must be educated enough to understand what tactic to be used for any given situation with the child. Yes, there will be trials and errors here and there, but every time we face that, I think the next time we should be better at that, is one understanding. So, for that, I think these satsangs and Swami's literature will be of huge help because they give clarity on what is the standard that is set by Vedas. So, this education, which we are, I think most of the parents who are present in this group, which we are going through, is itself a training for ourselves to be exemplary for our children, firstly. And also, more importantly, we are being educated on how to be as a parent because we do not know, and hence we are asking these questions. So, I think thanks to all these sessions that we're going through, I thought I'll just mention that. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Sitaram. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts?
Sorry, just adding one more word, one more keyword that Swami uses in his discourses is krama sikshana. Without, and Swami mentions, without siksha, sometimes sikshana is also being failed. So siksha itself is a punishment. When it is required, I think it needs to be exercised. Sai Ram. It doesn't mean we are creating fear, but it's the right medicine that is required for the situation. Sai Ram.
Thank you, Sitaram. Sai Ram, Sai Satish.
Yeah, Raman, more on a reflective note, sometimes as a parent, means I want to see that when I say something that it's the transformation or the getting that understanding behind that happens instantly. But I need to also understand that for that seed to germinate and grow into that tree, it takes its own time. Some of the things which I completely didn't understand back in Parthi, I'm beginning to at least scrape something a little of that now. So I realize it's taken a long time to even come to the tip of the iceberg. So with that too, it's Swami telling so many times repeatedly again and again. Swami never gave up. The number of discourses and things that he has given time and again was with the thing that at least, okay, one day they will get it. So even to children, even if now they feel that everything is a no, 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 I think at one point in time they will come to realize why that no came, and essentially if it comes with that sweetness, to the extent that the child can understand that it is coming from a place of genuine love, even not at that point in time, even if there's a frustration coming at that point in time, I think essentially by seeing a lifetime of how that on what that understanding was based, I think at one point in time the child will get so independent of, because now my thing of how that message has got translated should not be based on how the child receives it, but more like, okay, how much have I received it and how grounded am I in that despite that response from the child, which will tell me how grounded I am in that message. I think it reinforces that aspect, but I'll stop here, Sarah.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts? Yes, Sister Vani.
Sai Ram, brother, I think, to answer Kalyani's question, parents have to role model as well, whatever that we are trying to discipline the children. And then, we have to be consistent. Sometimes we may be flexible at sometimes because we are too busy to worry about certain things, and other times we are strict. So I think consistency would help the expectation. I think it's the set the expectation. And as Sister Bina said, pick your battles. We all learned through trial and errors. It's not no way that we are experts, but I'm just sharing some thoughts.
Thank you, Sister Vani. And we'll just maybe I will add my little piece also. Sai Ram, I think the most important thing is whatever we do, are we doing it based on our emotion or with reason? Generally, parents are overcome by certain emotions or even fears. And then as a result of that, we say or do things. Though we may reason them out to be, oh, this for their good. But the underlying impetus for doing anything generally comes from emotions. That should not be confused with love. I think that's the most important. So if parents are in command of their own emotions, and then they do what is right, and then they don't hold, that memory of emotion of their battle with their children, and then I think they will be successful in the long run. The child will realize that my parents did what is good for me. Sometimes we want immediate gratification for our own work also, as Satish said. And we should have firm faith also in what we are doing, which is right. And ultimately leave it to the Lord also to play his role. Even with Swami, though there are many students who came, studied, and went, I'm sure Swami may be disappointed if really with many of us with how we turned out to be, because we couldn't keep up the standard which Swami expected from us. But that did not sway Swami in doing what he had to do. I don't think he was looking for short-term results, even appreciation by people that Swami is doing it out of his love. But he was never emotionally affected by anything, though sometimes he may put on emotions and express certain things. So I think ultimately we should ask ourselves, we should have total faith in the Dharma which we are doing. See, Rama is a great example. There are many things which Rama did. People are questioning even today. In spite of that, Rama is worshipped as Lord. Because he was not reacting to other people's emotions, but his conviction of what's right thing to be done. So Rama himself is a great example. I'm sure we will come across many instances where we will know what Rama was doing and why he was doing. So I think sometimes we do the right thing and leave the rest to the Lord. As Swami would say, karmanyevadhikarasya ma phaleshu kadachit. We do our work, duty, and leave the fruits to the Lord. And we should be not having negative emotions of any kind, even fear. And I think that will fructify at some point in life, their own life, children's life. Maybe in sometime it may be lifetimes also, it doesn't matter. But we should have firm conviction in what we are doing, and we should be as unemotional as possible. I think we can strive. It's not easy for us to always be like that, but I think we can strive. So it's a lesson for us to read these, contemplate, discuss, so that in our own lives we can do what's the best. So the bar is very, very high. Generally, we do what our neighbors and others in the world are doing. Our ideal example should be the Gurukulam itself. Like Swami in the Veda Patashala, when he was running, and one of the first discourses Swami gave for the students when they were going home, he said, follow the exact same discipline which you followed here. That's why you are being trained here. So you have to get up, you have to do your Omkaram, you have to do your Suprabhatam, and you have to go through the same rigor which you have been practicing here, even at home. So I think for us as parents also, we should still function that way. That's the way all the gurus did in their own life, in their own homes. So I think that's something which we can offer to Swami as our own worship. Life, it's not easy, no simple silver bullet for all parents. Each of our situation will be unique, but I'm sure Swami will guide us all. And we should have that confidence. Sai Ram. Anyone else has anything to say? If not, we will read the last two. Okay. And Uncle, please read again.
Sai Ram, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Satruguna too learned their lessons admirably well, but they pined for the company and comradeship of Rama, so much that as soon as Rama was out of sight, they lost interest in study and in their duties towards their teacher. As a result, they could not catch up with Rama. They were following him a session or two behind. Lakshmana dared tell his teacher once or twice that he had no need for any lessons or learning. They would be happy if they could but get the company of Rama. Rama was the very life of Lakshmana. The teacher observed this strange relationship between the two and drew much inspiration contemplating on it. He reminded himself of the statement of sage Vasishtha that they were no other than Nara and Narayana, the inseparable divine forces. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you. Auntie, shall we?
Can we read? Yeah.
Yes.
లక్ష్మణ భరత శత్రుఘ్నులు కూడను మహాశ్రద్ధతో చదువుచుండినను.
Even though Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrugna also studied with great determination,
నిరంతరం రామ సంయోగమునే ఆశించుచుండేవారు.
but they were always yearning or pining for the company of Rama.
రాముడు తమ నుండి నిమిషము దూరమైన పాఠములపై గాని గురువు ఆజ్ఞలపై గాని మనసు నిలిచేది కాదు.
Even for a moment, if Rama was not near or he's far, they were unable to focus on the lessons nor the instructions of the gurus. The mind was unable to focus on that.
అందువలన వారు 1-2 తరగతులు వెనుక పడుచుండిరి.
Because of that, they were behind a few, 1 or 2 steps behind it.
ఒక్కొక్క పరి మాకి విద్యలు అక్కర్లేదు, రాముడు ఒకడున్న మాతోనున్న చాలు.
At some time or other, we are not interested in studies. If Rama is with us, that's enough.
అని లక్ష్మణుడు నిర్భయంగా గురువుతో చెప్పేడివాడు.
Lakshmana, without any fear, he used to tell his guru.
రాముడన్న లక్ష్మణునకు అమిత ప్రాణము.
If it's for Lakshmana, Rama means a great amount of love. Yes, it's like his own breath or life.
His own breath. వారిరువురికి సంబంధము అప్పుడప్పుడు గమనించుచు,
their relationship was observed by the guru once in a while.
గురువులు గారు తమలో తాము ఆనందించుచుండేవారు.
The guru used to be in bliss, thinking of this.
వారు నిజముగా నరనారాయణులే అని అనేడివారు వశిష్ఠుల వారు.
Vasishtha used to tell that they are really Nara and Narayana.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Thank you very much. Sai Ram, if anyone would like to discuss any of the points here. Yes, Sister Vani.
I have a question, brother. So how was Lakshmana had that much conviction all the time that he was the the Narayana relationship? Like what can we do? I know this was the point Brother Sitaram brought up a few weeks ago. Like how can we be always be with that kind of a conviction?
Thank you for the question, sister. We will open it up for discussion. I think it may be good to say who Narayana is. Somebody can volunteer to talk about Narayana, number one. Number two, how is Lakshmana Nara and why? How was he so attracted by Rama? I think that's what makes it so. The questions. Anyone would like to share your ideas or thoughts, please? Yes, Sai Ram, Sai Satish.
Sai Ramana. So for Nara and Narayana, again, I'm just going with the story, Anna, you can correct me. There is this story of Sahasra Kavacha, who has 1,000 armors. And Nara and Narayana were supposed to be in combination. We know that Narayana is Lord Narayana. Nara is, as such, in translation, it comes to as a human. But what they had done is to destroy this Sahasra Kavacha. Narayana would go battle with Sahasra Kavacha for 500 years, and Nara would be doing penance. And in those 500 years, Narayana would destroy one armor of Sahasra Kavacha, and then Narayana would come and do penance, and then Nara would go and fight Sahasra Kavacha for another 500 years and destroy another armor. And they had done this so many times that they destroyed the 999 Kavachas, and the remaining one Kavacha came back in the form of Karna, which he wore. And again, as Nara Narayana, that is Krishna and Arjuna, they came together to have that Kavacha also. Of course, we know that Indra came and took away that Kavacha, but they were instrumental in that part. So essentially, Nara and Narayana represent God and mankind, the love that God has for mankind and mankind for love for God as such, and how they were always working in unison as one for the accomplishment of the broader welfare. And that's what translates right as Rama, Lakshmana, or Krishna, Arjuna across the yugas. But the primordial thing starts with Narayana and Nara. But I'll pause here, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts? So okay, maybe I will just quickly, because it's 10:19 and we can continue the discussion. I think everyone can read up and come. So Narayana are considered avatar of Lord Vishnu. The Lord appears as a twin, one with totally divine aspect, the other one as the perfect human being. When these two come together, they are able to re-establish Dharma. That's the idea. So this divine and human combination always appear together for the upliftment of the world. So that is the Narayana. So Nara is the ideal human being who is born as a companion of the Lord who comes with all his amshas. This is the belief. And I think to Sister Vani, your question, why Lakshmana was able to have that relationship from childhood, because I think the answer is that he was an ideal human being, number one. Number two, always vasanas come back again and again. A devotee of the Lord will always come back as a devotee, will have the same yearning for the Lord. So Lakshmana embodies that greatest yearning which a human being can have by cultivating. And so life after life, when they're born, they will have the same yearning. So I think by growing our yearning for the Lord, we also in our way be able to manifest that love for the Lord. And the Lord will also pull us to some degree. So Nara is not that alone. Nara, though it symbolizes the ideal human being, every human being can strive to become that. Even in Swami's, one of the Padyam, Swami says why he was born. He's born as Shiva, who, along with his companions. Rama has come back again, and Krishna has come back again, and things like that. So the Lord always comes back with all those who have maintained their relationship by yearning with Him. So with those thoughts, I will stop here for today. We can continue this discussion of Naranarayana. I think that so much is embedded there. Sai Ram. We'll close with Samastaloka prayer. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram.